You hear this term all the time, right? Industry 4.0. But what does it actually mean for how we build things? We're going to break it all down because this isn't just about a few new robots. It's about the next massive leap forward in how we create, innovate, and make, well, everything. We're talking about factories that aren't just faster, but way, way smarter. So take a look at this. Yeah, it looks like a clean, modern factory floor, but what you're really seeing is a connected ecosystem. Think of it like a living organism. Every machine, every single sensor is part of one giant digital brain. This is a factory that can basically see, hear, and think for itself in real time. And that, of course, leads to some incredible possibilities. I mean, what if a machine on your production line could tell you it's about to break down days before it actually happens? And here's the wilder question. What if you didn't need to scrap all your old equipment? What if you could teach a machine built back in the 1880s to be part of this whole new world? Yeah, stick with me, because that story is absolutely fascinating. Okay, quick history lesson to see how we got here. First, we had the steam engine, right? That was the first industrial revolution. Then came electricity and the assembly line, that's number two. Number three was all about electronics and computers bringing in automation. And that brings us to right now. The fourth industrial revolution, Industry 4.0, is all about blurring the lines between the physical world and the digital one. So, what's the official definition? Well, the term Industry 4.0 actually came out of Germany back in 2011. The whole idea is to merge the world of machines on the factory floor with the world of data and networks. It's about making everything, and I mean everything, talk to each other. And here's the secret sauce. It's not about any one of these technologies. The real magic happens when they all work together. Think about it. IoT sensors on machines gather tons of data. AI running in the cloud crunches that data to find patterns, which then makes the autonomous robots on the floor even smarter. It's this incredible self-improving loop. Okay, so that all sounds pretty cool in theory, but what does it actually look like when you put it to work? Let's check out some real-world examples, because the results are honestly pretty mind-blowing. Okay, check this out. At Renault, plant managers were losing a ton of time just walking back and forth to a desktop computer to check on production stats. So, Renault gave them tablets and put Wi-Fi in the plant. Simple, right? That one change saved every single manager 45 minutes of wasted time per day. That's a huge deal for both productivity and, just making their jobs better. Or how about this one? Siemens has an electronics plant in Germany. Now get this, they make the very devices that are used to automate other factories. But their own factory is 75% automated, running on the stuff they build. The result? A quality rate of 99.9%. That is ridiculously close to perfection. So, saving time and hitting near-perfect quality is amazing. But maybe the true test of this revolution is how adaptable it is. Can it bring the oldest, most analog parts of your factory into the digital future? All right, this is that story I promised you. Bosch had this incredible cast iron lathe from 1887, powered by a foot pedal. Instead of turning it into a museum piece, they decided to upgrade it. They slapped on some modern sensors to track its speed, its vibration, its temperature, and hooked it all up to an IoT system. All of a sudden, this 19th century machine could give the operator real-time feedback on whether they were pedaling at the perfect speed. It could even predict when its own drive belt needed to be replaced. Just like that, it became a smart machine. So if this is all so powerful, you have to wonder, why isn't every factory on Earth already doing this? Well, because it's hard, really hard. This is definitely not some simple software update you can just plug in and play. And one of the single biggest problems is just a basic knowledge gap. A survey found that over half, 56% of manufacturers admitted they have little to no real understanding of what Industry 4.0 even is. And you just can't build what you don't understand. So the challenges really fall into three big buckets. You've got the tech problems, like how to connect your old machines. You've got the financial hurdles, like high upfront costs. But honestly, the biggest challenges are usually the human ones. Finding people with the right skills, overcoming resistance to change, and addressing that very real fear of jobs being replaced. And that human factor, it's absolutely critical. Get this. One study from Bosch found that a staggering 70% of big change projects like this actually fail. And they don't fail because the tech was bad. They fail because of people, employee resistance, and managers not supporting the change. Okay, so that's a pretty sobering statistic, right? A 70% failure rate. So the big question is, how do you make sure you land in that successful 30%? How do you actually make this work? Well, the secret seems to be changing your mindset. Stop thinking of this as a massive, disruptive revolution where you throw everything out and start over. The companies that succeed treat it like a gradual evolution. So here's a really practical three-step path. First, you start small, super small. Pick one machine, maybe your own 130-year-old lathe, and just add some sensors. Step two, you connect those sensors to a system that can actually make sense of the data. Find the value, prove that it works. And only then, once you built that solid proof, do you start to scale it up across the whole plant. And at every single step, you have to bring your people along for the ride. This part is not optional. You have to involve employees from day one. You have to explain why this is happening. You have to train them for their new roles. And leadership has to be out front, cheering it on. The tech alone is never enough. So let's say you do all that. You navigate the hurdles, you bring your team on board. What's the big payoff? Why does all of this matter so much? Well, it's about building a future that's not just more profitable, but also way more resilient. The numbers really do speak for themselves. Using big data can cut down on machine breakdowns by 25%. One Bosch plant in Mexico saw a 53% drop in how much inventory was just sitting around on the line. And by fixing one predictable problem, they boosted their revenue by over $200,000 a year. That's real money. So we keep coming back to this idea, don't we? Is this a revolution that destroys the old to make way for the new? Or is it an evolution that makes what you already have better, smarter, and stronger? All the evidence points to one answer. The smart money is on evolution. And the impact here goes way beyond just the company's bottom line. A smart factory is a sustainable factory. When you optimize everything, you slash material waste. When you monitor energy in real time, you use less of it. This is a massive tool for helping us build a more environmentally friendly way of making things. I think Andrew Minturn from Bosch Rexroth really nails it with this quote. He says, "This isn't some big bang event in the future. It's gradual, and it's already happening. Right now, one sensor, one machine at a time." And that leaves us with one final thought. It's a quote from Charles Darwin, of all people, talking about evolution in nature, but it just fits so perfectly here. From so simple a beginning, endless forms most beautiful and most wonderful are being evolved. That's Industry 4.0. It's not about one perfect final design. It's about starting with something simple, a sensor on an old machine, and watching as a whole new, more wonderful way of making things evolves right before our eyes.